Imagine this. It's 5 a.m. and your alarm goes off. You set it with the intention of hitting the gym bright and early this morning, but you wake up feeling groggy, your bed is so warm, so you end up crawling back into bed and now sleeping until 9 a.m. Now you're finally awake, rushing to get ready for work, you barely have time to brush your teeth, and you just throw a Pop-Tart in your bag before you dash out the door. Now I want you to reflect on the standard you just set for yourself today. You started the day by breaking a promise to yourself, skipping out on physical activity, and having a lack of confidence because you didn't even have time to brush your teeth this morning. Now picture this instead. It's 5 a.m., your alarm goes off, and you feel the same. Tired, groggy, you don't want to get out of bed, it is so warm in there. Except this time, you do it. You splash water on your face, brush your teeth, meditate, and get to the gym by 5:30. Now by 7 a.m., you've done what 90% of people won't even do in a day, while half the world is still sleeping. And you might not think this affects you, but subconsciously you're more energized, you have more confidence, and you're ready to tackle any other hard thing that comes in your way today. That is the power of a morning routine. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to JUSTJESS Podcast. I'm your host, Jess, and I'm so happy to have you here. So today's topic is the power of a morning routine. If you guys know me, if you've been following my content for a couple months, years, however long you've been here, you know how important morning routines are to me. So I used to not have a morning routine. I used to think, oh, what's the point of getting up and honestly BSing, doing this, and this when I have to get up and do things that I have to do, the things that have to get done. What's the point of spending time working on myself in the morning? And I hope that intro really caught your attention because it is actually so important, the way you start your day. And it might be the reason why you've been unhappy or unsatisfied throughout the day. First and foremost, don't be so naive to think the way you start your day does not matter. I used to think that for the longest time, and now my days feel off without having a steady morning routine. And we're going to get into some research today. One of my favorite books by one of my favorite authors, Hal Elrod, The Miracle Morning. We're going to get into some research and some actually proven success stories about why having a solid morning routine will actually shape the way you perform throughout your entire day, weeks, months, years, which eventually turns into the way you perform so significantly in your entire life. So my perspective on morning routines, and this is just one thing I want to get across, the energy you have in the morning and the energy you cultivate when you first wake up is actually very sensitive. It's beautiful. Think about it. You've been in a deep sleep for 7-8 hours. You're in your subconscious. You're in your mind. You don't have really any control over your dreams. You now wake up and pick up your phone. You now wake up and engage in a conversation where somebody's complaining and being negative. If you don't think that will affect you throughout the day, you are being naive. I will use that word over and over and over again because that was me. And I single-handedly see now how if that happens to me, I'm like, wait, this literally set the tone for my entire day. Doesn't mean it's a bad day, but wow. That's why I don't talk to anybody for like the first hour of my morning. I'm not even kidding. If I have to be up at 5 to be somewhere, I will be up at 4 because I need an hour to take care of myself, to cultivate my energy before I give it to anybody else throughout the day. This should be the whole mentality you have going through this episode about the power of a morning routine. Morning routines bring you long-lasting confidence throughout the day. When you start your day with something hard, you start your day with something uncomfortable, whether that be a mindfulness practice, physical activity, prayer, any sort of spiritual practice, and you start the day with something that might feel a little uncomfortable, that sets the mood for the entire day. Like, you think I want to wake up and go for a run in the morning when all I want to do is crawl back into my warm bed? No, that's the last thing I want to do. Of course I don't want to do that. I don't want to wake up and run a mile in the morning. I don't want to wake up and go for a walk before the sun has even risen. But the reason I do that is because it cultivates such a powerful energy for me throughout the whole rest of the day. Oh, I woke up and I did what 90% of people won't even do in a day. You don't think that brings confidence to who you are as a person and how you perform throughout the day? It absolutely does. The way you start your morning is super important. Start your morning by doing something hard, by cultivating that energy, developing yourself. Even if you don't have any time to do that throughout the entire day, use that 1 hour in the morning. Doesn't even have to be an hour. You can use 20 minutes for this. So getting into the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, a great read. I actually read it and then I read it through like a quarter of the way. So a super, super good book about building a morning routine and how this morning routine actually shifted lots of people's lives, his included. So Hal Elrod goes by this certain practice with an acronym he uses called SAVERS. We're going to dive a little bit into that. But the main point of this book, what I picked up from it, was honestly that you can transform your life just by implementing an hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long you have in the morning. He actually has an example here how you can do savers in only 6 minutes. You can transform your life by the energy you put into yourself in the first couple minutes you wake up. And I think that's something people don't realize. It's like, I don't like this about my life. This is negative. This is going wrong. But what are you doing to actually change that? Are you even realizing that you could change your life by implementing a 5-minute morning routine before you do anything else? Another thing that it's simple but hard to do. And I'm going to put hard to do because it's not hard to do. Stop being lazy and just do what you know and do what other people say are working. If you don't like your life, if your life sucks, you don't like the way things are going, you're not gaining any success, start recognizing what's working for others. And that's exactly what's been proven in this book. So savers, start your day with personal development. SAVERS. We're going to go through this acronym right now. So the first letter of savers is S. It stands for silence. Silence meaning meditation, deep breathing, anytime you can just cultivate that energy. And I use this phrase so often, but it really, that's what a morning routine is. That is what a morning routine is about, really cultivating that energy. So savers, meditate, deep breathing, be quiet, be peaceful, and develop your mental clarity before you move on to the rest of the acronym. A in savers stands for affirmations. If you don't know, your brain is that easily tricked. If you repeat something over and over and over again, you're basically brainwashing yourself to believe that. So create a list of affirmations. If you don't want to create one that pertains directly to your life, look one up, say it over and over again, not only in the morning, but multiple times a day, until it actually becomes your reality. V stands for visualization. This one's good, guys. It's good, and it's the hardest one. It's the one I had the most trouble with while doing this morning routine for a substantial period of time. Visualizing how you want your life to go. Actually painting that picture in your mind. And go back to that 5-year-old self that had this wild imagination, an imaginary friend, and all these big dreams. Go back to that person. Really paint that picture in your head of how you envision your life. E stands for exercise. And he said in the book, it doesn't have to be going to the gym. He actually just, I think it was, did like a core conditioning workout in the comfort of his own home. This can be anything, just to kind of get that blood flowing. It releases endorphins, exercise, many, many benefits. So E in savor, it stands for exercise. And the R in savor stands for reading a book of any kind. I normally stick to a personal development book. I'm pretty sure you can probably read a fiction book if you want to, but basically just use this time. Reading is so good for you. It's something that I've been trying to pick up over the past couple weeks. R in savor stands for reading. And finally, S stands for scribing. So keeping a journal, gratitude journal, self-awareness journal, whatever you want to be, write down something in the morning. If you have a vision, it's not a reality until it's down on paper. So you have that thought, write it down, it becomes actually implemented into your physical reality. So that acronym came from the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. It has so much proven success. And I'm going to read you some actually real life success stories about how implementing this morning routine changed people's lives. And I don't follow savers right now on my current morning routine, but I've been through many different types of morning routine in the past, probably solid year and a half. I've had one. So again, if your life sucks and you wake up with anxiety, you wake up grabbing that large Dunkin' Donuts coffee, you're shoving Pop-Tarts in your bag and you don't have time to brush your hair, get ready for work. No wonder why you have no confidence to perform throughout the day. No wonder why you're in a bad mood. No wonder why things seem hard, because you are not doing anything to implement that change. Savers is a great first way to practice implementing a morning routine, and this doesn't have to take an hour. This could take 20 minutes out of your day. Like I said before, he has a 6-minute example. So I'm going to go through this main success story that stood out to me in the Miracle Morning. I'm like, wow, if I didn't believe in morning routines then, I believe them now to change my whole life. In the book, he was talking about this school that had the highest crime rate in their district. They had a very low academic performance, a lot of kids being, in fights and being bullied. And their school district was wondering, what can we do to help these kids? We need to do something to change the direction of how all these kids' lives are going. They actually started implementing the savers of the Miracle Morning on their morning announcements in their school. And obviously, they don't have an hour to go through all of these practices, so I think it would take them maybe like 5 or 10 minutes. They would have all the kids do that in their classrooms. And over time, they had absolutely no crime rate. The students' academic success increased significantly. Less bullying, less fighting. They did a complete 180 by just implementing these personal development practices in the kids' morning routines. if you want to make an excuse of why you can't do this and how this won't work in your life, stop complaining. Stop complaining, because change can happen so clearly, because it not only happened in one person's lives, it happened in a whole school district's lives. It happened in all of these kids' lives that actually started to do something to cultivate their energy in themselves. And it really affected how they performed throughout the day, and eventually performed how this district showed up. And this really illustrates the transformative power this miracle morning routine has, and how being intentional in these practices can actually change a whole environment of a poor situation like this. I've gone through a lot of different types of morning routines. I don't follow savers to structure now, but visualization, affirmations, spiritual practices, taking a walk outside in the morning has been super big for me. Whatever you do, guys, take time before you pick up that phone, before you talk to anyone, before you eat anything. Just take time for yourself. Because I don't know if you've noticed, probably a lot of other time throughout the day might not be alone time. It might be time in a high stress environment like your corporate job. It might be dealing with people you don't want to deal with. It might be, not showing up for yourself in other ways, but give yourself 2 weeks to implement something like this. Read this book. Like, I have no affiliation with this book, this company, this author, nothing, but it really was transformative in my perspective. Morning routines are so important. It's so important to build these healthy habits, to be intentional with yourself before you even start the day. If you normally wake up at 7, start waking up at 6. Take time for this, because you will see increased productivity. You will see the brain fog go away. You will literally feel how you're giving your energy better to people throughout the day, because the energy you give to yourself is ultimately what you give to others. So if you're spending no time working on yourself, you're spending no time trying to improve your life with something as simple as a morning routine, do not expect that good to come out of you, whether that be physical, a tangible action, material action like money, fame, success, or just respect from others, or building these beautiful relationships. Don't expect that if you're not putting in any time for yourself. Cultivate that energy in the morning. It is so super important. And start doing that uncomfortable thing. It starts in the morning. If you wake up and snooze that alarm when you intended on going to the gym, and you say no to yourself right when you wake up, it affects you deep down. Start saying yes to yourself, because every vote you make today is a vote for the person you'll be tomorrow. The no's, this is too hard, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not going to do this, even though I told myself I was going to do. Tomorrow, you'll feel it, and vice versa. Say yes to yourself, say yes to your goals. It starts by these little things that you don't even think affect you in the way you perform throughout your life. Cultivate energy in the morning. Develop a morning routine. Even if you take some practices from the savers or anything I mentioned in the podcast episode today, I only want you guys to become the best versions of yourself. And every single thing I've done up until this point has really made me into this person I'm so proud to say I am. I was not always like this. I wasn't. And there's days where I don't feel like showing up for myself, but I do anyway, because doing hard shit gets you places. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of JUSTJESS Podcast. I'm so happy you stuck through all the way to the end. If you haven't already, make sure you follow my Instagram and TikTok. I basically just post short form clips of what you're seeing right here. While you're scrolling through your page, you get to see little clips of me motivating you to have a more intentional and happy life. Also, if you have any video requests, make sure you comment them below, or you can email me at justjesspodcast@gmail.com. Also, I will link in the description below a YouTube video I made a couple months back about a morning routine and getting more in depth on the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. A great read. Definitely recommend reading it. Cultivate your energy in the morning, and remember, your life becomes better when you do hard shit. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next week.